well and just absolutely killing it. You mentioned sub 40 earlier. That's kind of the golden goal of everybody who's not there yet. I think only 4 people have ever gotten sub 40.
Yep.
And with them being the person you said being the 4th person, so that's a big deal.
Big deal. So we're started already, and we're going to see how many wins Ruby's going to get in this race.
Yeah. So the first thing on every run is to race Ruby, and it's always a sign of good luck if you lose the race to Ruby, which it looks like Frozen did.
Yeah, that's 1 win to Ruby, 3 losses. That little jump is really hard, because that's one of the mechanics of the game, is that even if you walk off a platform, you still keep your jumps. On that one, you have to leave the platform a little bit and re-jump, and it's more precise than it looks like. So.
Yeah, I think some people call that an F jump, when you kind of have to... It's like you're jumping from the middle notch of an F onto the top of it, and it's very precise, and I miss it a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot like a fan gaming F jump. Alright, so our players are making their way through the keep. It's the first area of the game. A little bit easier, a little bit, I would say, tutorial of the game. There's still a lot of interesting tricks that the players are going to do to get through it very quickly. Like, a skill that we're going to see fairly often is the damage boost. Basically, you get hit once, it gives you a little bit of a boost in the air, and then you use the fact that you can jump when you're in the air to do the damage boost. Here, all the players... oh no, actually, Lewd and Frozen died.
Yeah, so they're a little bit behind right away. It's pretty bad to die in the floating keep, because even though this area is, relatively easy, being the starting area of the game, the checkpoints are kind of far apart from each other, especially with the damage boost having you fall down onto the first kind of floor of the area. So it can lose you a lot of time to die early on, but that's a lot of time, relatively speaking, to the small amount of time that you've been playing. It pretty easily gets made up later by just everything else.
Absolutely, that's not a race killing problem at all.
Yeah.
Shark already making Shark and SolidSquall having absolutely clean starts here in the game.
Yeah, and they are wow. They're about a second apart from each other.
Yep. They're entering the second portal. We didn't talk much about the first portal. Basically, portals are simple. Enemies spawn, you kill them, that damages the portal. When the portal has 0 health, it explodes. It's that simple.
Yep. And on this particular portal, you'll notice the players kind of exit the area and enter back in. That gets the portal to spawn the first wave of enemies twice, which gives you a little bit more leniency, because the portal then kind of spawns more enemies than you even need to kill, and so you have to worry a little bit less about the fire guys, chars, or materializers, whatever you want to call them. Since they kind of teleport around and troll you, it's nice to have to kill one less of them. So now Shark and Squall are both on Myogi right now. She's kind of the tutorial boss, just telling you that sometimes health bars can be on enemies too. And how she works is she does one attack and then lets her shield down, allowing you to get one hit on her. So you'll see the players use the weapon called Sloth, which has a really long windup and a really long cooldown, because it hits the hardest and gets the fight done the fastest.
Yeah,
and now they can slide.
We had Squall and Shark both get under 340 on Myogi 1, which is very good. Even though Squall got trolled a little bit by one of the fire guys that spawned under the platform, which can be really hard to handle sometimes, he managed it perfectly.
Yeah, that's one of the things that really separates the best players, is when the fire guys go down below the platforms. Some people will just kind of wait around, like me, for it to teleport away and hope that it doesn't go under the platforms again. But the really, really skilled players will just drop down there and kill them and jump back up.
I think Shark is on a good cycle to actually do the damage boost with the combo.
Yeah, this damage boost I've been seeing a lot lately. Looks like he is taking the safe route, though.
Yeah, that's a little bit scary to do. I think even though he's extremely good, I think he's going to use use a little bit of safe strats for this one.
Yeah.
I can't blame him.
Right, up against Frozen, I mean, if anything ends up going really, really poorly, then that could turn it around, because Frozen is very much not very far behind at all. Lewd not very far behind either, just picking up the slide and getting into the second area of the floating keep himself.
Lots of damage here by both Shark and Squall. Oh, and much better RNG here on Shark compared to Squall, so they were pretty much down at the same time. But you're going to see Shark killing Burger out way before Squall.
Lewd almost took a... Lewd almost took a pretty costly death up on the top right, but he barely made it up onto the platform and kept going.
Oh. And that time Frozen also gets pretty poor RNG with the 3 dashes.
Alright, so now we'll see them doing the falling skip. So the next chapter of the game is supposed to be a part where you're falling through the sky with Ruby on your back, and you can kind of fly around at free will and destroy turrets. It's very heavily RNG based though, and it's not really good in the speed run, but luckily we found a way to skip it in such a way that even keeps Ruby on our back and allows us to fly around as if we are in the sky. Throughout the next section of the game. So that's why the players can basically literally fly right now, and they're going to make it over to the next checkpoint possible, and then reset, which will reset them back to normal V without Ruby, and continue on their merry way.
And all 3 of our players so far have managed to get the good version of this kit. There's a worse one where you don't actually have Ruby on your back and you have to do the platforming section. It's about 10 seconds difference. It's not too much. And now the feather that our players are getting is the double jump feather. So now our players have all the platforming options that are going to have. And that's where it starts getting interesting.
Yeah, now you have the option of dropping off of a platform, then jumping a second time, and having a flutter. So the biggest deal about this game's platforming a lot of the time is knowing what order to use those things in as well. Because the flutter and the jump have 2 different uses, and in order to get through a lot of these obstacles, you have to know exactly how to do it. You'll also notice the players skipping some checkpoints along the way to Electram. The reason for that, it's very dangerous, but the reason is that after this fight, you have to backtrack back to that village that they got the double jump in, and so if they don't take any checkpoints, then they can hit the death reset button and just death warp back to town, saving some time. Of course, the risk is that if you die to the boss or beforehand, then you get sent way back instead of just getting sent back to the checkpoint that's for the boss. Alright, so it looks like Lewd got the other version of the falling skip that we're talking about, where he doesn't have Ruby on his back, which means he's not able to just fly around and he has to platform through this part normally. It's about 10 seconds slower, but really not the end of the world.
Shark with a sub-8 Electram in race. About 7:56.
That is fantastic.
Very fantastic.
Squall less than 10 seconds behind, and Frozen about 11 seconds behind.
Yeah, but all staying at pretty much the same pace. I mean, Frozen really has been coming back very well after his little fall on the damage boost.
Oh, well, right, yeah.
He got eaten, actually, but...
Yeah, he's coming back so quickly, I forgot that even happened. Alright, so that means that these players are on to the Veil 2 now. This area is going to be shortened quite a bit from how it normally is, because the players are going to do a huge damage boost here that is really risky, and there's actually a couple different ways to do it, you know, more or less safely. But as these things usually go, the fastest way is the least safe, and so it'll be exciting to see which players go for the more risky way.
Frozen had a little bit of a problem here with the little vent touch, which is a pretty difficult trick, where you can get you re-jump by touching the vent.
Yeah, unlike something like Super Meat Boy, if you touch the fans in this that are blowing you upward, you don't just die, you actually completely benefit by regaining all of your jumps. So Shark is going for the fast damage boost. Basically, directly after the damage boost, there is a heart over to the right, which can refill your health, but it takes time to grab. And wow, okay, so...
Well done.
Yeah, that was super, super clutch.
Save skip. First, oh, he had it, but he bonked.
Squall is going for a slightly safer damage boost where he also skipped the heart, but he didn't tank damage from the windmill, and so he ended up with a little bit more health at the end.
So we saw Shark get the cave skip on the third attempt. You have to get hit by a rock, which is very difficult. Basically, you have to stay out of the room while the rock is traveling towards you so that it doesn't break on the wall. So it's very precise, and then you have to do a perfect damage boost that's not frame perfect, but not far.
Yep. And then Frozen did a mixture of the strats that Squall and Shark did on the damage boost, where he did collect the heart, but then also was able to tank the windmill. And he gets the cave skip on his second try, so that's excellent as well. Alright, so we're against Amethyst now. Amethyst only lets you do so much damage to her per phase. After 16 points of damage, she puts up a shield, so as long as you see that shield up, that means that they are doing the boss as quickly as possible, and it makes this boss pretty consistent in how long it takes to defeat her.
Yeah, I mean, the different attacks can have a little bit of an effect, but no more than 2 seconds. It's very, very consistent. So there's not really RNG involved here, it's pretty much an auto-scroller. And I'm really glad to see 3 players on the same boss at the same time. This is pretty much the most even races we've had, even though we have, like, 4 players, but Shark against Frozen can go anyway now.
I'm just gonna say, can we get a framed plaque on the wall that of Ziggy saying Amethyst has no RNG? Oh, it fell flat, didn't it? Ooh! Alright, I'm gonna have to make that up.
Yeah,
so,
I think what's gonna happen is more that I'm going to eat these words the next run I do. Guaranteed. No
Alright, so Lewd is making his way through the damage boost now, and making his way over to the cave skip as well, which hopefully he gets. And that'll be nice if we have 4 different runs. Yes, 4 runs at once, and nobody has to do the troll cave, so...
Just a little bit of height missing here on the first attempt by Lewd. He has the timing right.
Oh, Squall actually died on Amethyst, and because he skipped the save in front of her, he now has to do the Troll Cave skip as well, again. And now he's doing the Troll Cave because he's not getting the skip. Oh, but okay, he's giving it another shot.
And he gets the skip. So that's... Wait, that means Lewd is ahead now. Holy,
yeah,
we have 2 really close races going on right now. Did Frozen die to Amethyst as well?
That may have happened. I was watching Squall and Lewd there, but yeah, wow. So we have 3 players all on Amethyst now, and it's boss deaths that really are a huge deal, especially when you skip checkpoints in front of them. So yeah, Shark is actually finding himself in a huge lead now.
Yeah, I don't know for you, but I cannot see Frozen's health bar.
Yeah. Yeah, same for me. His health bar is cut off. So Shark is finding himself in a very, very good position currently in his race on Frozen. Squall and Lewd, on the other hand, are just super neck and neck.
Yep, same phase on Amethyst at the same time. That could not be more neck and neck than that.
Now the question is, oh, did I say Azrael accidentally?
I don't know.
Alright, Shark skipping the checkpoints in front of the Dark Annihilator as usual. I mean, he's at full health, and Dark Annihilator is a very consistent boss, so probably won't turn out poorly, but I don't mean to curse him or anything with the old commentary curse.
I don't think I've ever seen him die to DA though, so I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, Shark, he's a force to be reckoned with. So all 4 players
save here in the cave.
Yeah, and everybody is now in the Sinister Grotto, where you could already draw comparisons to Donkey Kong with the Diddy Kong style jumping that you can do off of ledges in this game, but now we also have minecarts, so...
I'm pretty sure Frozen is very, very glad he took that safety save because he took a bomb going down.
Squall took a couple weird hits from that bat there, but didn't end up dying, and looks like Shark is going to be finishing up Dark Annihilator pretty soon here.
He's comfortably on a sub-18 terabyte pace, which is fantastic.
Now, the big deal with Dark Annihilator is you have to damage him with melee projectiles, and so you never want to see the player slowing down their projectiles too much. The number that they have available to them is represented by little dots above V's head, and if you ever see a player sitting around with 3 dots over their head in the Dark Annihilator fight, they're losing time, because they are not using those to damage the boss.
Also, you want to damage, because DA sends you some things your way that either heal him, some bombs after he enrages, or balls that will create green fire on the ground, and you must destroy them. Of course, it's faster if you damage them with melee, which is why most players will fight with Rust, because it's got a very long range, even though it deals not much damage. So it's how many orbs you save to send to the boss.
Yeah, the missiles that he sends, as well as the balls that he throws, both have 2 or less HP, so Lust kills them in 1 hit. And exactly, it saves orbs that you need for the boss.
Ooh, Frozen just saved it again. He took a bomb coming in. He skips the save of shame. Let's see if he can make it. Yep, he's fine. He's probably going to take the 60 save before the boss.
Yeah, I wonder if...
else, that would be scary.
Okay, Squall is at 50 HP because he already hit a bomb, but he's still skipping the safety save, or the save of shame, I guess. And Squall is, he's looking to make up some extra ground and going into the fight with only 50% HP.
During that time, Shark is doing some boring little cores, so that's pretty cool. We can talk about the other players.
Lewd is taking the save in front of Dark Annihilator. You know, I like that. Boss deaths can be super, super brutal, especially one like Dark Annihilator, where it limits the amount of damage that you can do by having it only be orbs. It can be very, very costly to lose all the time to a death.
Yeah, that will, at the end, like post-enrage, can easily be a weakness. In a race that's as close as Squall is doing right now. And I don't think any player wants to lose a minute.
So Shark is actually all the way up to the next boss in the game, Terravine, who throws 1 attack at you at a time. The gimmick of his battle is that every few attacks he charges up a giant one-shot kill face laser that you have to interrupt by hitting the minecarts. The minecarts also do a little bit of extra damage though, so Shark is going to send all 3 his way at a time, which means he no longer has a minecart available to stop another face laser, but he's confident that he'll be able to kill the boss before it gets to that moment by tanking those lasers. So, very, very clean Terravine kill from Shark there.
Yeah, that was fantastic. About 17.
Frozen is going for SE skip, and he got it.
That's a crazy strat. It's kind of fun to do though. By the way, Squall's Gambit absolutely worked. He got through DA very quickly. He saved some time on Lewd. He's about a screen ahead. So about 15 seconds, while the Shark already makes his way to the world. Well, I think we're hearing the dang underworld music right now. It's so good. It's one of my favorite tracks.
I hear Sinister Grotto right now.
Oh,
so, the 3 players who are still in Sinister Grotto, they're now having to deal with minecarts that are combined with lasers. And Shark is coming up on a new mechanic himself, which are the new dash wings. So the dash wings make it so that after you collect one, your next flutter will actually send you in a quick burst of speed in one of whichever 8 directional direction you're pressing. And so that'll make platforming a little bit more complicated yet for this section of the game.
Shark missed both skeleton quick kills. I'm gonna have to pester him a little bit about this because he keeps yelling at people for missing them.
Yeah, the Skeleman quick kill that's Shark's signature dish. Meanwhile, everybody else is making good progress through the Sinister Grotto, and they'll probably all be on Terravine at once as well. Hopefully they can get there before Shark makes his way to Craterack, though, and close in this lead just a little bit.
Yeah,
but remember, it's not a battle royale, so it is Squall versus Lewd. So yeah, Frozen and Squall are both getting to Terravine here. Lewd just a little bit behind here.
By By the way, we have the developer of the game in the chat right now, Solgren. If everybody wants to give it GG to Solgren for making this fantastic game, go ahead. He deserves it.
Alright, so Shark is doing a neat trick right there where the fog... This game has a lot of spots where there will be a fog gate that prohibits you from leaving the room until you've killed all the enemies. Or does it? It actually only asks if there are enemies on screen, which means if you're able to manipulate enemies, such as the Skelemen, into going off screen, you can then leave the room without having to kill them. And it saves a lot of time on those particular enemies because of their weird movement patterns.
So there's a lot of action coming on. Frozen sadly took a death on Terravine. ImSoLewd is slowly coming to Terravine. Oh, he took a death trying to get the drive-by achievement.
I don't know if he's specifically trying to kill all of them or if... I mean, these first 3 are free, and then the other ones...
He had lost out, so I think he was going for it.
Oh, sure. Shark, meanwhile, is fighting Craterak, who chases you through these winding tunnels, and you have to stay grounded on these moving platforms in order to not get thrown all around, because if you find yourself... well, on this part, if you fall off the platforms, you just die, because you're on a vertical platform. But on the horizontal parts, you have to watch out for the ground, which is quickly moving beneath you. And then, meanwhile, Craterak will occasionally do this big rock move where he makes rocks fall from the ceiling, which you can hit back at him for some bonus damage. And Shark got a very quick kill in there. Almost 2-cycled him. And that would have been the first 2-cycle of the tournament. I honestly don't even expect to see a 2-cycle in the tournament because it is so rare. But boy, Shark was close on that one.
Yep. He fought him perfectly. Sadly, 2-cycle, you need a special RNG about the order of attacks Craterak does, and he didn't. But his damage was perfect.
Yeah, the 2-cycle requires, like you said, perfect skill and perfect RNG. Alright, Lewd takes down Terravine up on the top right, and he will be joining the others in the underworld. Meanwhile, Squall is, took a little death on this kind of tricky, checkpoint that he's on right now. This checkpoint has a few different ways to go about it, and that's just one of the many ways you can do it. When you're on fire, though, the thing is, a lot of the time you have to just run through the fire, and when you're on fire, it can kind of mess up your jump controls in some weird ways, and cause you to unexpectedly not quite reach some platforms.
Yeah, and the main thing is with dash wings, if you take any damage, the dash is cancelled. So it can get very scary because there's a little burning laser right before the dash. So
yeah, exactly. Squall almost got the same little fog gate skip I was talking about that Shark got, but he only did 3 damage to one of the materializers, and they have 4 HP. Which it's a really neat design where those enemies, as well as a few others, have 4 HP exactly, and your main weapon in the game does a short burst of 4 damage. So that's why the players very often use the main default weapon against those enemies, is because it has a decent range and it kills them very quickly by doing exactly the right amount of damage.
Shark got the AC skip on the first go. That's a little damage boost that allows you to jump over the trigger to stall the boss.
Yeah, so
it's an entire boss.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. Pretty much everybody is going to go for the Ancient Construct skip. Whether or not they get it on the first try, though, is a different question. So Shark is cruising at great pace.
Squall killed AC in his first run of the tournament, actually. So I don't think he's going to do that against him. Especially if he's listening to us, because this is a very close race right now. There's not more than 1 minute difference between the players.
Alright, Shark's going for library skip now. This is where you're supposed to take this dash wing up and to the right, but if you flutter directly after a dash, you get a nice boost of speed that can actually take you up extra high to where you're not quite supposed to get to, and skip a short section of the library. So that ends up saving some time as well. Didn't quite get it the first time.
Yeah, it's very precise, so you needed just a little bit more height.
Oh, missed it again. So that's going to give Frozen a little bit of time to catch up here as he finishes off Craterak. Very good damage on Craterak as well from Frozen, so he's going to make very short work of the 3rd cycle here.
Third time's the charm. hard to get through the ladder skip.
Yep, and one thing we haven't quite said yet is Shark appeared to just die when he hit that checkpoint. A lot of the time the players will do a death reset in order to line up cycles. There's a lot of things in this game, and right there he did it again for this elevator. There's a lot of the things in this game that are kind of based on a global timer that gets reset every time you die. And so just to make cycles line up the way that we expect them consistently, we'll take deaths at certain checkpoints on purpose.
Yep,
and by take deaths, yeah, I mean that there's just a button you push and you die.
Well, that elevator, there's little black balls that fly around, and these one-hit KO you, and a little bit later in the elevator, there's multiple of them, and if you reset just before you go up, it will always be the same, and you want them to always be the same, because that can get really hard to dodge if you don't know what cycle you're on. Right,
exactly. So he'll probably just stand over on the left side right here. Yep, and that'll clear the first one, and we know that because of the death reset.
Up against the skeletons at the top, because just dodging everything was not enough. You have to fight skeletons. And good manipulation here by Shark, gets through by killing just one. Well done.
And Squall is on his way to Ancient Construct skip now as well, so we'll see that he doesn't kill this conving on the way down, and then does not take this checkpoint right here to keep the conving alive. Stands right there, and boom, there's the damage boost, and he nails it first try as well.
Shark already on Miyugi too. Little bit of explanation on her. You're going to see Shark heal her, but basically she has a yellow bar every time you attack her. Her shield comes up, and if you attack her while her shield is up, she heals. So what he does, he heals her 6 times, because that's the perfect amount to get a skill, well, a little skip that skips her enrage, which lasts about 40 seconds. So we're going to see if he's going to be able to get the full skip here.
Meanwhile, Frozen just did a nice little fog gate skip with the char respawns. So that saved a little bit of time.
He's gonna have to do it with a big ball.
Oh yeah, he didn't cancel that. Usually you cancel the big fireball attack in the previous phase, but he didn't do it this time.
Oh, I think he saved it. I think he got it.
He's taking a lot of damage, but he did get the skip. Nice.
Wow.
And then Frozen got the Ancient Construct skip when I wasn't even looking.
And Squall with the library skip. So our players are playing really well here. But no, what Shark did, I must assure you, if you're not familiar with this game, that was top level. That was really impressive. So attempt on the library skip here by Frozen.
Yep. Meanwhile, Squall is on the elevator as well, which we didn't give. We were talking about resetting to make cycles good. Nice library skip from Frozen. We should also mention that the elevator is the most difficult auto-scrolling section of the game. It is a really nasty checkpoint with just a lot of very close timing and a little bit of combat at the end too.
Yep.
Lewd is on his way collecting the 3 keys that are required to get up to Ancient Constructs before he gets to that skip.
And now the big question of this tournament. It's been very hard for our players. Can the password be input correctly?
Oh, yeah, I think that was a new record. I think Shark did that password faster than anyone else has yet. And he's up against Frozen. Frozen famously missed the password on his first race, so that might gain Shark a little bit of extra time too if Frozen messes that password up again.
So the chambers now. This section's, well, it's pretty made for speedrunning. Basically, the ceiling follows you, and you have to slow it down by hitting these switches. Usually, that's not the problem, it's just dying to the different obstacles on the way.
Yeah, there's a few switches that are right on your way, and they're pretty difficult to miss. And then when you get to this part where you have to go out of your way to the switches, turns out those ones you just have enough space on the ceiling, and you don't even need to hit those ones. Alright, Squall is now on his own Miyogi fight. Oh! And Lewd just nailed the Ancient Construct skip as well. So everybody did that very well. And so yeah, Squall is now going for Miyogi skip. Frozen is coming into the Miyogi fight as well, and he is also going for the skip. It's a big deal because it saves about 40 seconds.
All 4 players in the Acropolis at the same time, so we're still pretty close.
Now, I didn't quite count, but what I wonder is if Frozen is going to go for the 5-hit Miyogi skip now. We've actually found out that you don't need to heal her 6 times. You have just enough time to be able to heal her only 5 times, and then hit her 3 times when she does the pre-enrage attack instead of twice, and you can still get the skip. So that saves a tiny bit of time, technically.
That's about a second. Yeah, Frozen told me he was not feeling confident about it anymore.
Okay.
And that looks like a normal 6 here.
Yeah, there's the 1 hit, and there's the stun. Oh, and he missed it. He was too late.
Maybe 1 frame. That was very, very close.
Should have gone for the 5-hit.
Library skip by Lewd here. It's making up some time on Squall.
Squall, on the other hand, just finished up Miyogi, and he is making his way to the chambers, while Shark is at the end of the chambers, doing a beautiful quick kill on the Twin Orcs. The Twin Orcs is a really, really tough fight that has a really, really tough quick kill that Shark is doing right now, but Shark will be Shark, and he'll make it look easy.
He's fine.
There he goes. Nails it. Absolutely beautiful. Alright, and Frozen just finished up the enrage attack, so that's how much time it saves to skip it, is right now.
You can't kill the orcs before the enrage finishes. This is madness. Yeah, the orcs is about 35 seconds. The enrage is 40 seconds.
Lewd making his way through the elevator now. Very, very difficult section.
During that time, Shark is entering the Path of Decay, which is the toughest platforming section in the game. So we'll see how well he's going to manage to get through. He used here a little strategy by taking a rock and then damage boosting through the rock thrower, which is extremely difficult. He's the only one to do that. Usually people wait for the worm to turn around and hit you so that you can damage boost through.
And then we have a tiny bit of awkward silence here, while since Squall just got into the since he just got into the chambers, the music for this area doesn't actually kick in until you take a death. So now we get to hear the music since he reset at that checkpoint. But if a player does the chambers perfectly, then they just don't get to hear the song. Alright, so Lewd made it past the elevator, and now he's on grabby hands, crumbly platforms. Very, very fun checkpoint. It is just very, very well designed. He takes a different approach to the convings than I've seen most people. He actually killed them a little bit sooner than the fog gate, while most people manipulate their AI to kill him at the end.
Oh, Squall got stuck in the...
Oh, in the fog wall?
But he managed to get through by killing the skeletons.
Nice. That could have been pretty brutal. Shark, meanwhile, just finished up the climb, which is notoriously the most difficult page in the game for a blind playthrough. So that is excellent to just nail in one try.
Orcs here for Squall. He's also going for the quick kill.
Yeah, also going for the quick kill, and we'll see if it's as clean as Shark's was. I think it's gonna be. I think Squall is gonna nail this quick kill.
So far, he's perfect on purpose.
One thing that you might not expect when you're doing the quick kill is you actually have to make sure that you don't accidentally kill Purple right away. If your damage is absolutely flawless on her in that first little phase where she's on the platform, you can actually kill her, and that doesn't give you enough time to go kill Red before she respawns. Which, by the way, yeah, the orcs respawn if you kill them too fast, so that's fun. Nails it. Beautiful Twin Orcs kill.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Lewd, it looks like
the enraged skip. So he's gonna have to get through this.
Alright, so Shark now has the Space Meatball, which is the kind of the last movement mechanic that you get in the game. And it doesn't last the entire game, just the Path of Decay. But how it works is if you hold in the flutter key, you turn into the Space Meatball, which allows you free flight until it runs out of gas. And you can get more gas by touching the little gas geysers that you see around. Well, not right here, but you'll see them.
Yep,
well, actually not on Sharks anymore. He's past it already.
Yeah, well, we're going to see it in the fight against Azrael.
Yeah. Okay, right there.
That was a perfect gauntlet by Shark. These four screens are really hard. Okay, Azrael. So, Azrael, I would say, is the biggest multitasking challenge in the game. So, she's going to throw attacks at you that you have to dodge. You have to keep your platforms up by touching the souls above the holes that are created here by Azrael, and at the same time she's going to spawn portals that you have to kill. And also, if you deal too much damage to her, you're going to make her shield turn red, and which prevents you from hitting her for about 8 seconds, which is a big loss.
By the way, beautiful Twin Orcs quick kill from Frozen as well. Lewd is actually having some trouble on Miyogi too. He's taken 2 deaths to her now. And because of her mechanic where you can only deal 1 hit point of damage to her at a time, lest you heal her, it's a very costly boss to die on.
Yeah, if you die after the enrage, very often it's going to be a minute 40, a minute 50 time loss.
Right, especially after that long invulnerable 40 seconds enrage attack, which did happen once. So, yeah, we hardly got to even mention the fact that Path of Decay is insanely difficult. Just the platforming puzzles here and everything that you have to do, the execution is just super rough, and this place really, really gets the nerves going.
But Shark...
Oh, wow. Shark, I was going to say, got through Path of Decay before I hardly even noticed that he was there. So that was really, really well played. But yeah, an Azrael death. An Azrael death is pretty costly, but she is also one of the most likely bosses that you'll die to. Not only because of all the multitasking, but because you can die in an instant on this fight if you run out of jumps, or something weird happens with your jumps, or she just gives you the wrong attacks in the wrong order, and you weren't expecting it. You can really easily just fall between 2 platforms and die in an instant.
I don't want to curse anyone, but basically I would say the distance between Frozen and Shark at this moment is about 1 J2 death. We're not done with this race.
What an oddly specific amount of time that you've named.
Yeah, so, I mean, dying to J2 is something that happens to everyone.
Yep, absolutely. The last boss of this game is the most difficult part, and if people are going to choke, that is the most likely spot that they are going to choke on. And so these races are very much not over until they're over. Oh, nice. So the platforms were kind of lowering for Shark at a really inopportune time there, but he was able to recognize how little health Azrael had left, and that she didn't have enough shield to prevent any of the damage, and was able to just jump and kill her. And when she dies, the platforms actually come back up so that you don't fall to your death by accident. So he makes his way to the Heart of the Baneful, which is just a short platforming segment that I'm going to talk about before he finishes it this time. And it's pretty short, and it leads right up to the last couple bosses of the game. However, there is the Shark Tooth standing in his way, and we will see how he deals with it.
Will he go for the fast strat, or will he actually wait? We're going to find out.
Lewd missed the Miyogi skip again, and is now going through her long and vulnerable period once again. So Frozen is entering the gauntlet now. It's just 4 screens of enemies to fight, and that's the last thing before the Azrael fight. So Squall, Frozen, and Shark are all still very close to each other.
Yep, Squall already on Azrael, having a pretty good fight. I mean, he has a lot of platforms left, his health is good. He's in control right now. He should be fine.
Nice triple spike from Shark. So the main best way to deal damage to Jaul is by breaking his spikes that he summons from the tilty ground and hitting them back at him. Headshots are worth bonus damage, so particularly look out for those. But what's most important is you try to hit him with all 3 spikes.
I think that was 2 spikes this time, but
I think there
still
was
an
3.
extremely good fight. I don't know if the neck counts. Still, he's going to do it in 3 spike waves, which is optimal.
Yeah, I mean, Jaul might really be able to lift, because I cannot tell where his neck becomes his head. So
yeah, that's a good one. But really good kill. That was about a 50-second kill. He used a mix of Envy and Lust for different attacks, which is very impressive.
Frozen making his way through Azrael. I would love to know how much health he has, because this fight can really come down to the wire, especially with the state of the battlefield that Azrael has him in right now. I mean, he's barely got his platforms. These portals are really close to him. This is a pretty messy Azrael fight.
She's going to attack right after these platforms. He's gotta be careful.
But I mean, if he has full health right now, then it's not that big of a deal.
Oh, you got the kill.
Shark is fighting Supreme Jaul, by the way, right now. There's really a lot of mechanics going on in this fight. Basically, each of his different attacks are either you can see how to dodge them, or they are mitigated by one of the angels who helps you out, just so long as you perfectly follow the boss. Really, the big deal with Jaul is you have to, Supreme Jaul that is you have to know where he is, what he's doing, and where he's going next. And also balance that with following around Fiola so that you can collect health orbs and not die just from the poison burn.
A really bad RNG here for Shark. He came to the right side twice, but he still managed to get the quick enrage, which takes a lot of skill. He's going.
Oh, he is tanking! He's tanking the double laser. That is nice. That is grounds for a very, very fast Supreme Jaul kill. Just so long as he doesn't botch it. He got a really bad RNG pattern on the first set of purple orbs, though, so that hit was pretty hard to avoid. These ones are a little bit nicer to him,
I think he can take one more hit and still be fine.
Yeah, his health is still good, and his second orbs were much better. So there he goes.
GG in the chat plays for Shark. 41-27 in RTA. That's a very, very impressive time. And I think that might be the best time we've had in a tournament in in-game time.
Yeah, I mean, like we said at the start, there are only 4 people who have ever beaten this game in less than 40 minutes. And so, and that's in-game time, which is lower than RTA. So I'm not sure what his in-game time was, but a minute and a half is reasonable to where that might have actually been a sub 40 in-game time.
Squall is already also on J2. He's going to have a pretty good time on this one. By the way, the angels and the fairy, I guess, that follow you around in this fight are part of the story. We don't see them because we skip the story, but we talked about Fiola that gives you help, but also Ira makes a shield that protects you from his spirit attack, that we're going to see right now. And Amethyst puts sometimes ice traps on the ground for you to lure J2 on so that you can do an enormous amount of damage.
Oh, okay, so Squall is doing his own really cool strat here, where he actually tanked a Supreme Jaul laser before the Enrage in order to make sure that he gets the quick Enrage. And unfortunately, he got kind of a bad timing on the dive attack, which caused Jaul to go a little bit further left than usual. And if he ends the dive closer to the middle than he is to the side, he'll go to the middle. And unless you really prepare for it, it's very difficult not to get hit by that. Now, when we talk about fast enrage, what that means is generally players will try to not enrage Supreme Jaul until he is diving, so that they can get him. Wow, that was a low health death.
These blue balls were just mean. That was way too mean. Oh my god, they had angles almost horizontal. That's really bad. I can't blame him for taking these hits. I mean, wow.
But yeah, so you want to get as much damage. Basically, when Jaul enrages, he sits there and just screams for a few seconds, which gives you a lot of time to get a bunch of damage in. And so it's nice to get him far down in his dive attack in health, and then have that big scream as well to get him really far down in health, so that you don't have to deal with enraged Jaul for as long as you normally would have to. Because enraged Jaul, as you can see, is very, very dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh!
Get the kill.
Frozen also. Yeah, just like a 1% J2 death. This is why a minute ago Ziggy was saying, not to jinx anyone, but they're less than a J2 death apart.
Suddenly it's the wrong player here that died to J2 to make this even.
Yep, Shark got him first try, which, I mean, that is a very nice boon for a race time to be able to not die on J2 here.
I'd say it would have probably been one of the fastest possible right RNG kills. That was very fast. Getting the enrage on these two attacks is extremely difficult.
I didn't spot it when it happened, since all this Joul hype is going on, but Lewd did make it past Miyogi a bit ago. He's making his way through the chambers pretty quickly, and will be on his way to Twin Orcs very soon as well. Alright, Squall, though, finishes up Supreme Joul and takes the victory on the top side. So we have Shark on bottom and SolidSquall on top as our victors for this four-way race.
We're going to see if we can get Shark in for an interview here.
Yep, so they should just be in the setup right now, making sure that their mics are all good. And hopefully they can be moved in whenever.
Frozen's going to tank again. And he gets the kill this time with a time of 45-49. GG in the chat, please, for Frozen.
So
that was a very good time still. It's just that he was facing the second best player in the game. And Shark got a PB yesterday. Just 2 seconds. But that shows he's in great shape.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 45 minutes is an insanely fast time to beat this game in. It's unreal that people can beat the game this fast.
Oh.
So even though he was up against Shark, who was able to go even insanely faster, he's still just, oh my gosh, Frozen put up such a good race time there.
Okay, so Lewd is going for the old strat for the Orc quick kill. Since the last patch, this setup has become much harder to do because some attacks have changed a little bit in timing. So if he succeeds in getting that quick kill, I'm going to be very impressed. So you tank the dog here, then you continue hitting, and you try to kill Red before... Oh no, the traps!
So this fight has random bear traps that just hang down from the ceiling because the Twin Orcs are crazy people, and if they hit you, they will actually not only do a little bit of damage to you, but they will freeze you in place for a moment and then paralyze you shortly, making your character move more slowly. So Lewd actually made a really good decision there, where just before the Orcs were going to choose their enrage attack, which is a big problem when you're trying to do the quick kill, he purposefully killed Purple early to stop them from doing their enrage attack, which would have given him time, hopefully, to take down Red. However, he ended up, partly thanks to that bear trap, succumbing to the number of attacks.
Yep. By the way, we have Shark in here. We're going to be ready for the interview. Hello, Shark.
Hi, how's it going, Ziggy?
It's going very well. By the way, except maybe Azrael, that was a godlike run. Holy cow.
Getting
well
what
done.
should have been a sub 40 in a race is pretty nice for just a no reset, but Azrael kind of was a little mean to me. I did a drink dodge, went off screen, just kind of...
Oh, no! Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Lewd,
That's fine.
Wait, no, he did get it! He did beat the boss! Oh my gosh.
Okay,
I thought
he got the kill after the death. Okay, that's
I
fine.
thought he died! Okay, so what happened there was that he killed both the Twin Orcs, however, they were in the middle of an enrage attack, and just how they work is that they will sit there dead doing their attack until the attack is over, and then they'll die. Lewd did that and then died to their enrage attack. However, that boss doesn't care about like a cutscene or anything after the kill, and so even if you kill them post-mortem like he did, you just have to reset and they will still be dead. But it takes good on-the-spot knowledge to know that you have to wait for them to die before you reset, and you will still be victorious.
By the way, we also have our second winner today, Squall, that is also in the chat with us. How are you doing, Squall?
I'm okay, except for the Amy fight. Yeah, I'm good. And another death to J2 when he was like pretty much dead as well.
Yeah, Lewd kind of stayed stuck on M2 for about 8 to 9 minutes, I would say. But before that, it was a pretty even race.
Okay, I was going to say, was he ahead of me because of my Amy fiasco?
Yeah, he actually passed you at Amy.
Yeah.
Briefly. Then you caught back fairly quickly, and you were ahead coming into the Acropolis.
I was so tense during that. I couldn't see Lewd or Frozen's sides, but I could see Shark's, and I was kind of just racing against him. And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm keeping up with Shark," and then I just lost it.
Yeah, you were on the same screen for the entirety of the time until the Amethyst death.
Yeah. Ziggy, you mean Pages?
Pages? What?
It's my favorite chapter of this book.
Dash has been calling screens Pages, and that's just what we do now.
I didn't start it.
Rules.
Do I have to join that? Do I have, really?
No, absolutely. It's terrible.
Okay.
So, Shark, your RTA is 41.27. I don't know if you caught it, but was that a sub 40 in game time?
No, it wasn't.
No, it was about 40,
30.
Okay.
Well, it would have been maybe like, 60, 70 seconds faster. Did the commentary catch my awful Miyogi 2?
No, we praised you for getting the Miyogi 2 skip your first try.
But did you see what happened? I did it wrong. She summoned the fireball on the important phase, and by the time I was actually doing the skip, I had 20 health and the screen was full of crap and I couldn't see anything.
No, we called that, and yeah, that was really impressive. I mean, the way you saved out. I mean, we thought you wouldn't be able to save it, and then you did.
I didn't think I'd save it.
Amazeballs.
Oh, Christ. That's about all I have to say about my run, though. It was pretty good for a race. Overall consistent, small mistakes everywhere, only one major choke. I'm gonna start getting sub 40s in races at this rate by the end of the tournament for sure.
Yeah, and we have your opponent that is also ready for the interview, Frozen. Hello, Frozen. Well played. Yeah, I guess the only problem you had in this run is that you were racing against Shark, because that was not that bad a run, actually.
Not that bad. 45 minutes is so good.
Yeah, okay. That was so good.
I had some unfortunate deaths, sadly. Especially on Amy early. I killed Amy and I just pressed the reset button for no reason. And so I hit Amy again.
Yeah, and that's a really costly boss to have to do twice because of the way that she limits your DPS.
Yeah, my platforming was actually really fine. My other bosses beside Terravine, I also had a very late Terravine death. And also very late J2 death.
Oh yeah, that he had what? Like, could you still see health?
No, I couldn't.
We couldn't.
He had actually no HP.
Yeah, you really tried to tank it to finish him, but sadly you couldn't deal enough damage. That was
I like to be greedy in that fight, especially when I'm like already behind.
Oh, nice! Lewd did the really fast strat on the brute room in the gauntlet there. That's awesome. I've tried that and I get hit by spikes every time. Oh, and he's doing the fast strat on the Skeleman. Look at that!
Wow, perfect here.
So yeah, Lewd is cruising through the path of decay there. So Squall, I don't exactly remember. Did you get the Miyogi 2 skip?
Yeah, I got it.
So that means okay. So you two both got it. You two, as in you and Shark.
Shark, yeah.
Yeah, Frozen missed it, I think, by a frame. That was just barely too slow, I think.
Yeah.
How close were me and Frozen during that?
For most of the race, like you were in POD at the same time. And
yeah.
Solid you were fighting J2 at the same time as well.
Yeah, Squall and Frozen, you two were very close the entire race. All right, Lewd making his way through Azrael now.
He's not in a bad position. There's no portal remaining. He's got a lot of platforms and his health is good.
Yeah, he's doing really good battlefield management for how low Azrael's health is. But it's that boss, though. You just gotta make sure that you don't accidentally fall between two platforms and die in half a second.
Yeah, she's one of the few bosses that can just drop you to 0 immediately.
Wow, right there, that was just such a terrible combination of attacks. What I'm really impressed with, though, is that she spawned a portal basically right underneath herself, and he managed to kill the portal without red shielding her. That was crazy. Now he's got just
these
Yeah,
curving
he's taking
bullets
those
makes
shards
it-
super,
yeah.
super safe. Nice. First try Azrael kill. Fantastic.
So I was going to go through the Heart of the Baneful. A little bit of a death. By the way, we're seeing little saves here that Shark did extremely quickly during the race. Like, this little flutter here is extremely precise, and just Shark makes it look so easy. It's uncanny.
Yeah. I die to it all the time. That just, right, you have to flutter, but not too much, because there's spikes over there, but not too little, because there's spikes over there. I mean, that's the whole Heart of the Baneful, really. Just tons of super precise spike jumps. Not too many, though. Like, there's only a few jumps, really, in this area, but they are all very precise.
Yeah, it's thankfully short.
And
Shoot.
whoa, oh, whoa!
No!
I thought that he wasn't slowing down for the shark tooth, which he wasn't, and he would have made it, but then he pulled back too late, and ended up dying to it. He would have had it. Oh, wait, does he just do that every time?
I think it jumps. You can cancel a slide by jumping or by pressing right.
Yeah,
I
if
think
you
cancel
just
this,
hold
slides by
right, you
jumping.
won't hit it.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway, he makes it through that time, and now is on his way to Jaul. So we didn't have a lot of time to explain the yellow bar mechanic of this fight. A few different bosses have yellow bars. What this one do is the further up that the yellow bar gets, the faster Jaul moves, and the more damage that he deals with his attacks. But the way that the yellow bar goes up is if you get touched by that yellow skull that he summons, or if you touch the yellow cloud on top of the stage. And you can get the skull away from you by shooting you. It's not quite as nice as Miyogi's skull, though, where hers actually has, like, impact, where you can blast it away with with an orb. This one, you can only kind of guide or herd along, and it can be really tough to get it away from you and still have enough orbs left to shoot spikes back at Jaul. What it does have nicer than Miyogi's skull, though, is that this one actually reacts to melee attacks.
Yeah.
And he takes down Jaul first try.
Yeah, that was well done. Good management of the enrage. Good damage. It was the third spike phase that he killed Jaul on, which is optimal. And yeah, he's gonna make his way to J2. Still can get sub 1 hour in game time. Sadly, his timer is dead for the real time. But sub 1 hour is nothing to scoff at. It's a very good time.
By the way, I like this new trend of post-race teeter your V off the corner of a pixel.
Yeah, we get
Shark hasn't joined the party yet.
Well,
He's
it's-
not in that clique.
It's less awesome if it's not chunky, but it's fine.
All right, so Lewd's on the J2 fight. Will he get it first try? This is such a difficult boss to what's the word when you do it the same every time?
To be consistent at.
Consistent! That's it! To consistently kill this boss without dying.
Yeah, I've managed to English. That doesn't happen often.
Yeah, I had you here for me.
Mm.
Shark has joined the cool kids club. All right, on the second dive. Oh, he
a little bit early.
Yep, went early and did not lure Jaul into the ice. So that attack, like, it might look easy where, you know, oh, and he accidentally ran off the platform. These platforms, you might not notice it right away, but they've got spikes on the sides of them. So you can kind of safely go into the middle, and you sort of have to dodge lasers. But on the outsides, you can get spiked and instant killed by those. But the dive attack that he does right here, it kind of looks easy because you just dodge out of the way and then the boss gets frozen for you to deal a bunch of damage. But the timing on it is pretty precise, where he comes down very, very quickly, and you need a lot of experience to know exactly when he's coming down. And if you go too late, then he'll come down on top of you, and if you go too early, you might dodge him, but you won't freeze him. so you miss out on a bunch of damage. It's very important to get that, and it's difficult to do consistently. All right, he's going for the second dive here. So now we'll see whether Lewd goes for the full Enrage here. He probably will.
I think he's got it. He's going to Enrage here.
Yep.
So the balls are going to be low here, so that can be hard to dodge.
So he did kind of a weird Enrage on this boss. Another reason that a lot of players make sure to Enrage him during the freeze attack is because it makes Jewel move very much more...
erratically, I would say.
Well, predictably if you do Enrage him during the freeze.
Yes.
But he moves very erratically if you don't. And so you'll get those weird things where Jewel was hovering really, really lowly for that ball attack, and that can really mess you up if, depending on his position and how the balls tend to come out. You can also get a low laser sometimes if he's on the sides. Lewd is doing very well on this attempt, though, except for those balls. Get that elbow. Okay.
Frames. He was on iframes. He's fine.
Yes!
He's gonna get the kill.
Nice.
So 1 hour for Lewd as well. All 4 of our players were under 1 hour. That was well done. And I think we already have Lewd here for the interview. GG, man. Well done.
Yeah, and that was just a fantastic race time as well. I mean, he's up against 3 insane players at this game who got 45 and under minute times. But beating the game in under an hour is a huge, huge feat. So congrats on that, GG.
Are you with us?
Thanks.
Oh, yeah. There he is.
I can say that I'm not very pleased with the time because I know I can do a lot better, but I'm actually happy that I continued because I was pretty close to giving up on them too, but it worked out in the end, so...
Yeah, you spent like about 9 minutes on M2, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. Like, I don't want to sound like, you know, that guy, but it's a holiday right now in Sweden, and I'm a bit intoxicated, but I would mostly say it's nerves, to be honest, because I know I could beat Squall if he had a, like, pretty bad run. So I would have been really nervous for this match for like 3 days right now. I don't know how many days it's been, but I've been really nervous for this matchup.
I think it speaks to really, really good play that you did struggle with Miyogi and die to her a few times. Like Ziggy said, it was about 9 minutes, and you still got an under an hour time. So that just shows that you played very, very well for every other section of the game.
Yeah, it was decent. Like, some sections were actually really good. Like, I'm really proud of them. A lot of my plays were really sloppy, but, like, I know I can do better, so it doesn't, like, make me too sad. And especially since I know how strong Squall is, like, as a player. So losing to Squall is, like, not anything I would be sad about, because I know he's a really, really good player.
Yep.
By the way, you were ahead of him after Amethyst, so
I was.
You still had it. Yeah, you were ahead at Amethyst. You were keeping up to him, up to the Acropolis, where everything went horribly sour. But
yeah,
good on you for continuing, man.
Thanks.
All right, so yeah, congrats to all of our racers, and if you guys weren't overstimulated by these 4 races going on at once, and you would like to see more V, or perhaps, you know, a little bit more of a chill race where there's only 2 happening at once, we do have those coming up. So stick around and keep in touch with the Wings of V race. Next up, what we have is on currently scheduled to on Wednesday. We have a race at 4 p.m. Eastern between Flachmitz and Giga. On Thursday at 5, we have Cake versus Ziggy. And on Friday at 8, we have Fraslo versus Matrick. And there are going to be more races added within the week, as well as more players get their races scheduled. So stick around and keep on watching. Thanks to Speed Gaming for hosting us, and we hope to see you guys in the following races. Anything else that you guys want to say?
Thanks for having me.
All right. Yeah, thanks so much, everybody, and we will see you for the next race, I hope. Bye-bye!
Bye, good night, everyone, and enjoy your holiday, Lewd. Bye.
Oh, and remember to follow the runners, too.
Oh, that's right.